Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and in today's video, I have more custom-printed Ninjago figures to show to you guys. These are once again coming from Ninjago Heads 107 on Instagram. They got a business card right here, and I've taken a look at their custom-printed figures once before on the channel. I'll put a card in the top right corner if you haven't seen that. But they made like some custom Harumi heads, some new expressions for the original ninja, and my favorite was a disguised version of young Lloyd. But anyway, they have sent over some more stuff for me to take a look at in this video. We have 4 new heads as well as a full figure, and this is their first time doing a full figure. I do want to give a shout out to not just Ninjago Heads, but also SkunkBricks, Master Nukel, and SuperBrickFigs over on Instagram because they all had parts in designing this stuff. I'll have all of their Instagrams linked in the description below as well as Ninjago Heads, so if you want to go check any of them out, you can. But for now, let me pour this figure and these heads out so we can take a look at them up a little bit closer. So first, let's take a look at the custom printed Howler. This is of course based off the Howlers that appear in Ninjago Dragons Rising Part 2. And these guys were only in one episode, and I don't think we're ever going to get an official minifigure of them. I mean, maybe we will, I guess there's a chance, but I think chances are they really just appeared in one episode and that's it. And I think that's very likely because in the show, these guys pretty much just reuse assets. Their torso was just Harumi's torso from Crystallized, and their face prints I'm pretty sure are just a modified version of the Legacy Ghost face prints, though just in blue instead of green. However, what the Ninjago Heads team did here is actually really cool, because while they tried to make it accurate to the show, they also updated it to make it a little more unique, and I honestly love this change. This is not like a character I really desired to have a custom printed version of. I mean, it was a cool character in the show, but because it was only in one episode, I was like, I don't need it. There's other characters I want more, right? But they did such a good job with this that this might be one of my favorite custom printed figures that I own. Because you can see if I take this hood off right here, that torso print is very similar to Harumi's from Crystallized. But on this figure, it's a lot more tattered. You can see there's claw marks in the cloak and everything. And that's because we do kind of see that in the show. The cloak in the show is more physical, and there is little divots in that. So the Ninjago Prints team actually represented that in the printing right here, and I think it just looks incredible. And the face print I'm really impressed by too, because again, it is very similar to the Legacy Ghost face because that's what it's based on in the show. But they didn't just copy paste that face. They did a great job of making it feel distinct and unique. If you put the two side by side, there are little differences. Like the blue at the bottom of the mouth is slightly different. The eye is a completely different design, and even just the shading on the face looks really, really good. And then of course there's the dress piece, which extends down past the torso, which not as detailed as the torso, but also very accurate to the show, and I love how there's little bits of tattering too. So with the hood on especially, this figure looks fantastic. Really, really cool all around. This is actually a custom printed figure that I considered getting a second of just so I could have 2, just like we saw in the show. Turning this figure around, unfortunately, there is no back torso print or back dress print, which on a normal LEGO minifigure, I might think that's a little bit lame, but this is not a normal LEGO minifigure, this is a custom printed figure. So while printing back here definitely could have looked nice, it also probably would have made the figure more expensive to produce, and also more expensive to sell. So honestly, I don't mind them leaving it off here, because presumably it would make the figure a little bit cheaper, and the front of the figure does look really, really good. So yeah, incredibly happy with this one, honestly, no criticisms at all. As with most custom printed LEGO figures, there is a little bit of texture to the printing. It's not like a standard LEGO minifigure, but that's pretty much what you're going to get from most custom printing companies. And I will say, if you get up super close like I have the camera right now, there is a little bit of fuzziness to the printing. However, I can tell you that's a lot more obvious on camera than it is in person, because you're seeing this up a lot closer than any human's going to look at it. In person, unless you're inspecting up really close, it looks pretty much like how a normal LEGO minifigure would look. The face print especially. It's a little more noticeable on the body and the legs, but honestly not by a lot. Yeah, this guy turned out fantastic. As I said, one of my favorite custom printed figures that I own. Now we're going to get into the custom printed heads, and this actually is not it. This is one that I looked at in the last video. I mentioned in the last video that there was an issue with his head, the eyes were too far apart, and in that video I was like, yeah, it's noticeable, but it's not that big of a deal, I still think it looks good. But luckily Ninjago Heads did update this head, so I have an updated version of it to replace it with, and wow, this looks so much better. This is really, really, really good. I already liked the original version, but now I can clearly see that this is how it was meant to be, and this makes me so happy to have in my collection. This is of course Kai with the Venomari venom in his eyes from season 1 of the show, and it's specifically from the scene where he's trying to eat something and he sort of just smacks it against his face and it slowly slides down his face, so you can see he's even got the food on the side of his face there. But yeah, this turned out so good. They captured Kai's expression perfectly. You've got the green eyes. Everything's really vibrant too. I just love how this turned out. I won't spend too long on this guy because I did already talk about the other version of him in my previous video, but the updated version is a huge improvement. Very, very happy with this. And then the next and final 3 heads in this video are all for Lloyd. And you can see once again, these are all from Ninjago Crystallized, and they're based off when Lloyd was first unlocking his Oni-Form, specifically in that fight against Harumi. So here Lloyd's green eyes have turned to purple instead, and we've got 3 different expressions for him. So of course this was the suit that Lloyd was wearing during that scene, so let's try out all 3 heads on this figure. So here's the first of these 3 heads. It's these wide open eyes with an angry grimace, and I think it fits pretty well. I think they did a great job of capturing the shape of Lloyd's eyebrows that feels pretty much identical to how they look on his official figure. If you want to see this face with the hood too, there's how that looks, and honestly I think that looks really, really good. I will say the shade of pink they chose maybe blends in with the yellow of the skin a little bit. It is pretty accurate to the show, but a more vibrant purple probably would have popped more. But still, fits Lloyd really well, and it's a really nice new expression to have for him. The next head's a similar expression, though now he's got more of a confused squint, and it's a minor change, right? But I just really like how many different expressions we have here. You can see he's got the single eyebrow raised too, and once again that fits pretty well well even with his hood. Again, looking up super close, it does seem like some of the white of his eyes leaks out beyond the purple, which in my opinion doesn't hurt the overall look of the figure that much, but if you're considering buying this stuff, it is something to be aware of. But there's tons of personality to this expression. Really cool one to get. And then the final Lloyd face that we have here is these very angry eyebrows and then this wide open mouth. And I will say this is probably the one that I'm the most critical of. I like the idea behind this face, and I think the eyebrows and the eyes look fantastic. In fact, I think the eyes on this one pop the most of the three. But I do feel like the mouth here is maybe a little bit small. Now, I know the mouths in the show are a little bit smaller than the mouths in the minifigures, so it might be show accurate, but because this is a physical minifigure, I don't know, something about the open mouth being that small does seem a little bit off to me. That being said though, as I mentioned, I love how the eyebrows look, and you know where you can only see the eyebrows? With the mask on. And that is such a cool look for Lloyd. It definitely fits the whole theme of him like embracing his anger, unlocking his Oni-Form. And I think with that mask on, this is like a really good representation of him right before turning into his Oni-Form. So 3 very great heads to get overall. I'm happy to now have them in my collection. And there we go, there's all the custom prints that I had to look at in this video. Let me know what you guys think of them in the comments below. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of this video, but I do think it's important to mention I am not sponsored. I'm not being like paid to give a good review or anything. These custom printed parts were all sent to me for free to review for this video, but that's just it. It's for review. That being said, I do love projects like this. I love when fans create the things in Ninjago that LEGO won't, and these are some really, really great examples of this. So thank you very much to the Ninjago Heads team for sending these over. I'm very happy to now have them in my collection. If you guys want to get any of these for yourself, I believe you could DM Ninjago Heads on Instagram. Again, a link to their Instagram as well as the rest of the team will be in the description below. And just a reminder that the Howler is the only full figure that they're selling. So if you order Lloyd heads, you will only get the Lloyd heads. You're not going to get the rest of this figure. The rest of this figure is just for my own collection. And same thing with the Kai right here, right? You're not going to get the full Kai. You're just going to get that custom printed head. If you want to see more of my reviews of custom printed Ninjago figures, you can go check out my full playlist in the top right corner. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.